I'm Christy Curtis. I'm the events manager here at Big Brothers Big Sisters of Utah, and our organization focuses on one-to-one mentoring, matching kids we serve with a mentor who is more consistent in their lives than they normally have through various circumstances, whether it's they have a single parent or they have a refugee background or whatever the case may be. We work to match them with a mentor. And then our job on the funds development team is to raise money, and specifically with me through events, to support those matches throughout the year.
How do you use Qgiv's email integrations as part of your overall fundraising strategy?
We asked Donor Perfect, like, hey, we're in the market, we're just looking, like, who talks to your systems really well? And they said, well, we can't like advocate one or the other, but here's a list of who we've worked with that our system will talk to. So we looked at Qgiv and one other that of course I'm blanking on now, but that they had given us, and it kind of was crunch time. And so I was a fan of Qgiv when I spoke to the sales representative. And so I kind of got my fund development officer to sign off on that. And I said, I really like this one. It's super user friendly. Like, we've got to go, let's just do it. And the reasonable price for nonprofits was also a huge factor, because a lot of other platforms that we looked at were sometimes even double the price that Qgiv offers. And we also really love the option of being able to pay quarterly, whereas we don't do an event, every quarter. That was a really important piece for us and our agency.
How have you used Qgiv for peer-to-peer fundraising?
So for our peer-to-peer fundraising, we originally every spring do Bowl for Kids' Sake, and it is a live and online event for peer-to-peer. We got through one session of bowling, and then the major shutdown happened. So we had to we stalled for a little bit because we were like, oh, we'll be back, we'll do this again in the summer. But then, as we all know, COVID kept happening. The shutdown kept happening. So what we did is we decided to shift to, instead of Bowl for Kids' Sake, which was the title of that event, we shifted to Do Something for Kids' Sake. And this mainly came out of our Park City branch because they hadn't held any of their bowling sessions yet. And so what they decided to do is, hey, we were able to get outside. We were able to go hiking. We're stuck inside and we're playing video games all day because of we can't go out, we're immunocompromised, whatever the case may be. So they were able to take their teams that had registered and encourage them, hey, we want you to just do something for Kids' Sake. We're going to do it on this day. Whatever you do that day, raise money for that purpose for our programs. Here's the platform. And so it was really easy on our end as an administration end to just go in there, make those simple changes to wording or dates or whatever, and just lickety split, the event then shifted. Our Park City branch specifically raised over half of their goal for the event, which we didn't even think we would get to half considering the pandemic. And our goals monetarily couldn't change because we had already got those approved by the board, in the previous year before COVID even happened. However, when we look at our revenue and the fact that these certain goals weren't met, COVID is taken into consideration. But reaching to over half of that goal, and then the Salt Lake City office, we did get to half of our goal. So considering we had all shut down, there was a lot of people that came together and said, hey, even though we're not doing anything right now, we want to donate. So it was, and because of that lack that we had to make up, we did have to add a couple of extra events this year. But all things considered, we were really pleased with the outcome and surprised.
What challenges did you face moving to a virtual format?
So shifting to the virtual space, it was really important to us that we wanted to make our auction super user friendly for those who were going to be joining us in that virtual space. And, even if they didn't join for the live stream, that they could at least get to the auction and bid, because that was the thing we really wanted to focus on. So a lot of other platforms that we looked at when we were looking to switch over, we did ask about, hey, well, tell us about your auction platform just in case. So a lot of those either had like a separate app or website that you had to go to, and then all these credentials you had to enter. And we didn't find that that was the case with Qgiv. It was very simple to just post on the instructions online, and to say them at the beginning of our gala, and users were on just like that. And I believe we opened the auction to bidders the week before the actual event so that we could try to generate some interest there. Qgiv made it really easy to just go in, this one's for sale, this one's for sale, this one's for sale. Oh, I need to change the price of this one. And Qgiv calculated the where I should do the biddings, the starting bid. There it is. And like I said, just, I can't say enough good things about how user-friendly and supportive the staff at Qgiv is. Only challenge I would say really wasn't anything to do with the platforms that we were using. It was just like, hey, how do we get people engaged? Our event was in November, and by then a lot of people had like virtual event fatigue. They just weren't as into it. So how can we get people engaged? So formatting our event so that there was entertainment. We had, the theme was Magical Night In. We had a magician, we had a band, we had a violinist. So we filmed as much of that ahead of time as we could. We rolled those segments throughout, or streamed them throughout the night. And then we'd go back to the host live where she would say, hey, now take a minute, go and bid on some items. Let me show you 5 that have no bids right now and you could win them like that. And so she was able to pull that up, and we could easily direct people to those items that she was mentioning and showing. And then keeping it really short, keeping it under an hour was kind of our goal. And by doing that, and then some additional pieces that we have done throughout, which is opening the auction up ahead of time, and then trying to, so in the past, our auction has only been available to those who are at the event. If you want to bid, you got to be there. This time, being virtual, we were like, okay, well, let's open it up to everybody. So we advertise that. If you can't join the live stream, that's fine. Go ahead and jump on and bid and participate in the auction. So then this year, where the event itself is going to be live, and so you can go to the event, we are keeping the auction piece open to anyone. So anyone who, even if you don't feel comfortable coming live, you can still jump on again and join the auction.
How did you use Fund a Need in your fundraising strategy?
So the thing that I would probably say about Fund a Need, which is going to be kind of a new experience for us doing it live, since last year was the first year we used Qgiv, and we just were able to use the platform directly from our live stream. And we were able to put, through our AV team, we were able to put the link for the Fund a Need right on in the instructions, like right on the screen. So if they were watching on their phones, they could just go and do it immediately. Hopefully they were watching like on their computers, they could go and do the Fund a Need. But we went back to it a couple of times throughout the night and said, hey, just so you remember, all of this money goes straight to the matches, to supporting those matches. It doesn't go to our overhead costs. It doesn't go to anywhere. We kept going and saying that, and kept showing the link again to do that paddle raise, do that Fund a Need. So the thing that I would say was key for us with virtual is that we sort of shopped those bids ahead of time. We knew exactly who was going to, who has bid in the past. We were able to pull some of those reports and then invite them. Hey, we're doing this paddle raise again the night of. Can you jump on and can you do your bid during this hour so that our thermometer goes through the roof? And they said, yes, we can. And so that's how we kind of got the thermometer moving. And we were, the other thing that was really great was we were able to look at, here's the thermometer for our Fund a Need, here's the thermometer for our overall, and compare them throughout the night. And I think it got that excitement that you normally have of a live event. It got that built a little bit in the virtual space so that people were excited to bid.
And do you have any advice for fundraisers considering virtual or hybrid events?
Do you know what? I was not a fan at first. I really fought it because I was like, no, we're going to be live. We're not planning this. But my fund development officer said, you know, in the end, this is the only way where we can for sure control this event. And when she put it that way, that's when I got on board, because I was like, she's right. If you want to control the results, you can't control when a pandemic is going to strike. You can't control if the building you're hosting this event in is going to catch fire. You can't control if your caterer falls sick the day of, or whatever the case. And you can scramble for some of those things, but the only way to truly control it is to do the virtual space, and for you to be in the driver's seat of as many pieces as possible.